Yeah, I honestly want I want them to open up the team radios again. I don't like that those are locked down. I want to hear them argue and fight. Like, I wanted to hear that conversation that they were having with Control before they sent Checo back on the track to serve his penalties. Like, I wanted to hear like what was going on there. Like, I'm just like, I know that there are some shenanigans going on right now, and like, I want to hear what they're saying. Like,
that was pretty wild, having him like suit back up and get back in the car for like a lap of shame. So
like, what the hell? Like, and just to hear the commentators like talk about it as it was like coming, I'm just like, no, they're not. Like, no, they're not.
I thought they were gonna do it.
Like,
I thought they were gonna do it.
God damn it, dude. And I just love
gonna send him out there. And he's gonna come for Guan Yu Zhou next. Just gonna take out both Alfa Romeos.
Yeah. And then basically every expert after that being like, it's not against the rules, but it's gonna be.
So you're saying it was technically not against the rules, which is the best kind not against the rules. But I think they cleaned it up already.
Yeah, I think
they do rule changes pretty quick over there.
Yeah, they were saying by next race there's probably going to be some sort of rule on the number of laps that you complete to not be considered DNF. So like in circuit racing, like IndyCar, like if you don't complete a certain percentage of the laps that everyone else completed, like you're considered to be DNF. So five laps, whatever, that'd be fine, or whatever, something like that. But like if it's like 15, 20 laps, then even if you're still running, like you're going to be considered DNF. So something like that. But I don't know. We'll see. I'll be curious to see how they word it, but that'll definitely be a Checo rule for sure.
Yeah.
Without further ado, we'll kick it over to Michael for Michael's Mad Minute. Michael, take it away.
Hey, what's up? F1's in Japan. They have anime there. AlphaTauri. Yuki almost got in the points. Good for him. So did Liam, but it does not matter because Christian Horner's in love with Yamakato Smile. Alfa Romeo. I feel so bad for Valtteri. Zoe was there too, I guess. Haas. They have two F1 cars. Williams. Alex Albon. Bad luck. I feel bad for him. Logan Sargent. They're going to start garnishing his wages. He keeps that shit up. Alpine. Both in the points. Good for them, but I have no clue what they're doing. McLaren. Double podium. Good shit. They're kind of scaring me. Not going to lie. Aston Martin. Alonso's doing his best. He's like one of the only ones on the team doing their best. Ferrari, top 6, not bad. I'm always surprised we don't sabotage something. Mercedes, decent result. George thinks he's faster than he actually is. Red Bull, Checo, oh dear. But it does not matter because Max can win a constructor all by himself because nothing in this road is sacred.
Yeah, that's got to be a gut punch just for Sergio to be like completely DNF, but to be like, it doesn't matter. Like it also doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like our one driver has enough points to be a constructor all of his own. Like that's ridiculous. It's just.
Oh yeah, guess what? Red Bull won constructor's title.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed?
Whoop-de-doo. Like, yeah, exactly. That's where we're at right now. But still, I just like, especially with all the weirdness that they're doing with Red Bull, and I have this new saying that Red Bull just likes to make people struggle. Like they just don't want anyone to be happy, and that's just across the board. They don't want the competitors to be happy. That's why they have a 20-second car that is finishing 20 seconds ahead of the pack. And then when it comes to their drivers, like literally none of the experts had the scenario that they're doing right now as a scenario where they give Ricardo a seat, they give Yuki a seat, and then they have some sort of weird contractual agreement with Lawson that he's gonna, have a seat in the coming year or whatever, like not next year, but the year after that or whatever, 2026. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I'll figure it out. But
I think it's 2025 right now.
25. Okay. So still like basically being like 1 year delay and then you're going to have a seat. Like it's just wild. And maybe there's some sort of crystal ball they're looking at that they're going through, but like, it just seems like a very weird way to go about this whole situation.
I think they're fucking up. Because like, I keep going back to exactly what has Daniel Ricciardo done in the past 2 years to show he deserved to be in F1.
Yeah. I mean, he
It's
didn't
like
go to
it's
a
like
lesser team and make them better. Like he went to a lesser
yeah,
team and they didn't do well, so he left and went somewhere else.
and then got beaten by a driver much younger than him.
Yeah, yeah,
And then you have this kid who has done basically everything you can ask for, and still arguably the worst car on the grid, and has not put a foot wrong, and he's still getting punished for it.
well, he literally knocked the world champion out of Q2. Like
Oh
that's
right,
gotta be.
yeah, sorry, yeah. So you can't up with the money. Yeah, I guess he did that. Yeah, sure.
Well, but I'm more saying that should be a reason for why he deserves a
Yes.
seat. Like that's
No,
I
no.
mean,
In a
honestly.
sane world, I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Like Red Bull has the luxury of having the best car, best driver, best technical director, best everything else except for second driver, I guess. Which I guess that means like they can do whatever they want. So fuck what I think, I guess.
Yeah,
But I feel like
I was gonna say Lando's getting pretty spicy with those comments about like, yeah, we can't beat Max, but we can beat one of the Red Bulls. Like we can beat the slower Red Bull. It's just like Jesus. I mean, he's not wrong, and it's totally accurate. But it's just like, it wouldn't like. Part of me is willing this to happen. It's not gonna happen, but it's just willing me for him to be talking shit because like, that's gonna be the surprising contract for next season is that Lando jumps over to Red Bull, but that's never going to happen because they're having too much improvement. And like you said, they are scary. They are becoming very, very scary with their potential long term to be competitive.
Like, you could make an argument, maybe not a good one, but you can make an argument that they're the best driver pairing on the grid right now.
Oh, if they were to pair up?
Like no, the fact like Oscar and like Oscar and Lando are the best pair right now.
Yes, skill level wise, yeah, absolutely.
Though the argument could be Verstappen and who cares. So
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I like it because I mean that's the thing. I think there needs to be more competition between teammates. I don't think there is as much. I feel like there's been a lot more team orders that have like kind of taken over. Because honestly, I agree with the Team LH group that if Russell hadn't have been in Hamilton's way, he probably could have, regardless of whatever with Sainz in Singapore, that he could have gone through and won. And I mean, you had mentioned that too, like he potentially could have gone through and win. Like, then that's the thing is like. I almost feel like back in the day there wouldn't have been any hesitation to be like George get out of the way. I mean, kind of like what they did in Japan. Like it seemed like they learned their lesson in Singapore and they're no longer like no it's an order, George. Like just let him by and then we'll deal with you after.
Yeah, like the fact is like I think George's pushing too hard. Like Lewis is better. That's fine. Lewis is better than a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
And he needs to just be okay with like being the second dude right now. Like I think he got a taste last year of winning, not performing Lewis while he was like trying to get the car in order.
Yeah.
But like I think he needs to be a little more of a team player than he needs being. But again, that's my first take. I have no clue what's going on in the background opinion. So
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean I agree with you. I think Russell's the equivalent of that guy that you do like the Thanksgiving 5K, and he's the guy that takes off at the beginning of the whole run, and like you think he's gonna sprint it all out, and like within 2 blocks the guy's like winded with his hands on his knees, and you're just like, dude, you should have paced yourself. Like
right.
Whereas Hamilton's the seasoned vet who just is taking care of his tires, has good pace, understands what other people are doing around him, like doesn't need to be first too fast, and when he gets into the place where like his strategy's paying off and Russell's in the way, he's like, get out of the way.
Yeah, it's like you're making this worse for both of us. Come
on. Yeah, exactly. And then Russell he knows how to play the game, so he then gets on the radio and is like, what are we going to fight each other, or are we going to fight, them? Like, I can appreciate it, and it's a good tactic on his side, but I don't know how much it actually does for them in the long term.
Yeah, I don't. In the long term, I think it's nothing because George is still a fantastic driver, and he still has, in my opinion, like a title-winning ceiling. But obviously, this is not hard to do it, and we'll see next year if they can get a handle on it. But like, I don't know. We'll see. Like, Lewis hasn't been challenged by a teammate directly in a while, so I'm kind of curious how Mercedes handles that. And so far, the answer is like be like, fine.
Yeah.
So
Do you think Russell will? Do you think Russell will out? This is a crazy question to think about. Do you think Russell will outlast Hamilton, or do you think Hamilton will have another teammate before he retires?
I think he will, because we have to assume that Russell gets so fed up that he wants to be the number one driver. And the question is, where could he do that and also win? And the answer is nowhere. At least not right now.
Yeah.
Like maybe if Lando goes to Red Bull, maybe.
Yeah.
Even then, there's a argument that like by then Oscar would be better than him.
Mm-hmm.
So who really knows? But
Yeah.
I think he's a Mercedes, and then Lewis retires a Mercedes, and they figure it out from there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. I just think it'd be wild. It'd be wild for that to, again, for him to outlast another teammate, especially a good teammate, because Russell's not bad. Russell is definitely no slouch when it comes to competitiveness as a teammate.
A lot of the teams would love to have a driver of his caliber on their team right now. So
oh yeah,
I would like, if I were Mercedes, I wouldn't get too up in arms about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Sargent, the heck, man, like you said, guys gonna get his wages garnished. Like he literally like got what I felt was he's been getting almost like the pass that he's been performing well enough, just hasn't like had that, tipping point moment. And ever since they kind of like focused on that, I feel like he's been on a downward spiral.
I mean, I think it was a bad weekend for him. I think if he comes back next weekend and just performs, I'm not saying all is forgiven, but I'm saying it's a good. I get the feeling that Williams is not trying to replace him, but will do so if their hand is forced. And they don't want their hand to be forced. They just want him to keep the car off the goddamn wall.
Yeah.
And if he does that, he gets at least one more year. So he needs to just get it in order. That's it. He just doesn't need to. He doesn't need to do anything to get it in order. He's in a Williams. Nothing expected of him.
Yeah, I just
keep out the wall, and he'll be okay.
Stop crashing. Yeah, that's the biggest
thing.
Yeah. Well, and then, yeah, I don't know why Stroll is even racing anymore. Like, I mean, Singapore.
I mean, we know why.
I mean, yeah, we do, but I mean, still, it's just I don't. I just one day I hope he surprises us. I just hope one day he just like comes out and it's him and Fernando switched on the grid positioning, because god dang, it's frustrating to watch. And I think I'm probably more ragey about it because I'm watching Rocket Power Mohawk, the Singapore version, and I'm just like, god damn it, yeah, what the fuck.
Like I said, I've just accepted that as long as Lance Stroll has a seat in that car, they're not a serious team.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. No, 100%. Well, and I don't like Haas needs to get their tire situation figured out, because they legitimately have a decently paced car in hand, but as soon as they start shredding those tires, they just continually fall back. So they have good qualifying. I mean, from a standpoint of they have good qualifying and then they have no race pace. Like, that's the problem with Haas.
Yeah, I was gonna call them the definition of a midfield team, but they're literally 2 points away from being the second worst team on the grid right now. So
yeah, and that's what's silly is you wouldn't think that based on like the way qualifyings go for them and stuff like that, and you see like the start of the race, but yeah, you look at the end of the race, you got DNFs, you got them outside of the points almost every time, and it's wild. And Magnussen is. I mean, Perez was a bull in a china shop, literally and figuratively, this last race.
I don't know what the hell he's thinking.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's been the last two races, honestly. He did the same thing in Singapore as well. We didn't even touch on that as much, but yeah, he's just been all over the place. But even with that, like, Magnussen at times, I'm just like, sometimes I think he's go-karting. Like, he... legitimately just like the way he puts that car where he shouldn't sometimes, I'm just like, oh my god, I feel like you think there's a metal protector around your F1 car when you make that lunge to the middle of the corner.
Yeah, I mean, like they're they're a middling team with a middling driver tandem.
Yeah.
They are who they are right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as they're just happy with their,
You're happy to be here.
yeah, they're happy to be here. They're happy to have consistency with their drivers. Know what they know. They know what to expect with their drivers. All that jazz. So, yeah. No, I think that's. Yeah, you're right. Alpine. I mean, I wonder what kind of improvements they can make before the end of the year. I mean, they sound like they're already having trouble in paradise with the teammates when they swapped them around
On the last lap.
on the last lap. Like, why?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't.
It's basically picking which children of yours is your favorite at that point.
Yeah, or like we want Ocon to get 2 points. Like,
Yeah.
why? Like,
Exactly.
That's.
If I'm Pierre, I'm mad too. I'm like,
Oh
fucking
yeah,
why?
I would lose my shit. Like, and,
Unless you legit think he's faster and better than me, which is kind of funny at that point.
yeah, yeah. No, it'll be interesting.
They even have a director yet. They have a team principal yet. Like
I don't
Neil
think so.
Dowling.
I haven't heard anything official.
So who the fuck knows what's going on over there?
Definitely not them. That's for damn sure. But yeah, no, and what? I mean, Leclerc is back to being the number one Ferrari driver, so that's good for him. You know,
He did well.
yeah, he did.
He did well. Good for him. If he
Yeah.
had a competitive car again, he became a Max Fitz, but not this year.
Yep. No, I mean, I'm hoping next year. I mean, the general thought is from some of my friends I've talked to is that we won't see a real change across the board until they do the real engine regulation change. But I feel like we're going to at least have 4 teams next year that are going to be relatively, competitive with one another. I feel like Red Bull's going to come back to earth, and I think that Mercedes, McLaren, and Aston Martin are going to be there to, give them trouble, And I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I assume Red Bull is going to be this pace until proven otherwise. Like they have shown nothing to indicate that this is not sustainable.
Oh yeah, I just feel like the other teams will be able to catch up with them a little bit more. Like it seems like they're making grounds, or like the improvements that they're making, or the roads that they're going down for these improvements to the cars is yielding dividends, and it seems like they're picking up more and more. Or there's enough Red Bull employees leaving and going to other teams to spread the knowledge across the paddock.
But they got Adrian Newey, so who really cares?
That's true. Yeah, there's no replacing that guy.
They have the X factor, so it doesn't really matter right now.
Yeah. Well, and so coming to McLaren then, do you think at what point do we start to have conflict between Piastri and Norris? Because like you said, I think they're probably the closest matched team or racers on a team on the grid.
Well, it's like most teams. It's like once Oscar has legit pace to match and pass Lando, that's when friction begins. Mm-hmm. It's like Oscar is fast, but he's not quite as fast as Lando. When he is like as good or sometimes better than him, well then yeah, that's when it's going to happen. That's when he's be like, hey, let me pass, I'm faster than him, and that's when the friction comes. So I would say sometime next year, that's when the friction comes, and then that might hasten, depending on how competitive Lando is, it might hasten his exit over to Red Bull. So,
yeah.
Because I've noticed like some of these drivers really don't want to be challenged. So
yeah, they are kind of prima donnas.
Yes.
But
for competitive drivers, they fucking hate racing. It seems like.
Yeah, they hate racing their teammates. That's for damn sure. It unlocks a whole nother side to them.
Yeah. I feel bad for Liam though. Like he's done everything asked of him and more.
Yeah,
in a car that is actual dog shit.
Yeah, I don't really understand that either. It seems unreasonable, and it doesn't set a good. I don't think it sets a good precedent for the program. Like, I mean, if I see this as a young driver and I see Liam on the Red Bull team, and I know his story and everything that he's jumped through to be on the team and still not having a seat, like, I think I might entertain going over to Mercedes, or the Ferrari, junior league or junior team, rather than the Red Bull one, because who knows,
Yeah, but there's no point in burning that bridge quite yet.
I'm not saying burn
Guess
the
he'll burn
bridge.
that bridge.
No. I'm not saying burn the bridge. What I'm saying is that the younger ones coming up and like their parents watching and stuff like that, if you see him being run through the ringer or kind of jerked around, like I wouldn't want that for my kid that I'm trying to get in the league.
I mean, like, the fact of the matter and the issue that for some reason does not want to be discussed enough is that there are not enough teams on the grid. There should be more teams.
Yeah.
There are too many competent, capable drivers, qualified drivers, and not enough seats. Mm-hmm. They should allow more teams in. And they seem like they really don't want to do that. I'm guessing because some kind of revenue sharing is going to be my guess. It's always money in the end in some regard. So
yeah, I imagine that they still are kind of in their infancy from a standpoint of how they truly handle the money, and they come from such a crooked and corrupt birth and pedigree. Yeah, that I still think they're in the midst of cleaning their money, as it were. And I think the net zero is the point where they would be in a place to be able to do what you're talking about.
Because I was reading Reddit as I do, and I saw a comment that kind of irritated me, because the internet. And one of it was like with Liam, it was like, like F1 has a history of young talented drivers just not being able to get on the grid, and that happens. I'm thinking, why not just fucking change that then?
Yeah.
Why is like, oh, it's been that way, so that's okay. I'm like, no, how about you get more fucking teams on that thing and give people a chance to drive and show themselves. But
yeah, because I mean, it wouldn't be unreasonable. I mean, I could see there being a point where you don't want too many cars on the course at one time, but I mean, you could figure that out and put that cap on there. But you could definitely have more than 10 teams and 20 cars.
I think you do 12 teams.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I would think that you could even potentially do 32
maybe
drivers
13
is too
teams.
much. Yeah, 13.
I think 26 might be them.
26, yeah, 26 I think is a good number. But still, right there, that pretty much gets you all your top prospects right now that are floating around in the lower formulas.
Yeah, especially when like some of them are better than like the dudes who have seats right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not to name names, because their name is Lance Stroll. But
just beat that dead horse. Yeah, no, I agree, because I mean and especially in comparison to like back in the 2010s and stuff like that. Like, I mean, there were so many guys on the grid that are just no names. Like you're just never gonna know or think about them ever again. And I feel like the last 3 years has been a pretty stable grid from a standpoint of drivers on it, and they've all done really well. The only ones that have really stood out as being really terrible in my mind have been Mazepin and then Nicholas Latifi and Stroll. Yeah. Like, those are the three that in my mind are on the same level as like some of the like
and maybe Schumacher.
Yes, Schumacher, unfortunately for him. But they're the only ones that really remind me of like the Force India type drivers that you never heard again, aside from the Checo, but aside from that, like the ones that were just one and done for being in the on the grid. Yeah, I think you're right. I think having more cars on the grid would definitely help it out a lot. And I mean, Stroll Senior has shown that it can definitely be done if you have the capital. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see.
It's irritating, though.
Oh, yeah.
To not see, like, the actual best drivers on the grid.
Yeah.
Because you know how things are right now.
Yeah. Well, and you have to watch them go to IndyCar. And, like, right. Nothing against IndyCar, but it's not Formula One. It's just not. So, and it was funny. I know you don't watch the like the FPs or the qualifying, but Pietro Fittipaldi was on and doing commentary because I think he's racing in Super Formula over in Japan. And so he was talking, and at one point, I think it was Julian Palmer, and they basically started talking about the difference between Indianapolis got brought up of being an oval, and Pietro had said it's one of his favorite courses. And it's funny because Julian was definitely like, well, that's a circuit, so it doesn't really like. And it was funny because you could hear the almost snobbish F1 tone to what he was saying, and then Pietro
Yeah,
kind
so
of
it's like we turn right over here.
yeah, exactly. And then Pietro like trying to defend it and be like, yeah, but you have to like, you're trying to navigate dirty air and like he's using all the technical terms that we know as racers, and like he is right, it is difficult, but it was really funny to like definitely hear a truly pure F1 person talk about a circuit, and then hear someone who's definitely like dabbling in all the disciplines right now be able to understand and appreciate a little bit more.
And I get it. In my amateur virtual career, I've dabbled in ovals, and there's definite a craft to oval. I wouldn't say it's not easy.
Yeah.
And they make it look very easy when it's very much not. It's just not interesting to me. I like throttle application and like show braking, and like in the ovals there's like a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is more about steering lock and feet to the floor. And putting your car in different spots.
Feeling it. Like there's just a lot of feel. It's just you're just constantly. I equate it to like being on ice, and just like you kind of have control, but like you're on a knife's edge of losing it and sliding into someone.
You manipulate like tires up a little bit. Like it's interesting, but if you don't like it, I fully understand why.
Yeah. So no, it's wild. It was so I mean, it was
also like the first corner shit went to hell in a handbasket.
Holy cow! Yeah, and it's always a Williams. Why is it always a Williams?
I don't know. It's the pack, man. The pack there's always something happening in the pack.
I know, but and
then Albon got himself launched into the air momentarily, and that was sucky, and that ended his race. And then Bottas got pit maneuvered by Sargent.
Yeah,
was it Sargent or was it somebody else? I thought it was Sargent. I think it was Sargent.
Was it Sargent or was it Perez? I can't remember.
He got spun.
Yeah.
No, I thought Perez spun Magnussen.
Perez did spin Magnussen, but I thought he had spun multiple people.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah.
He just had a terrible day.
Yeah, just not good for him.
It was Sargent. It was Sargent.
It was Sargent? Okay.
That goddamn hairpin. They get the hairpin, they lose their fucking minds.
They just forget they have to stop, I feel like. Or they forget that it's a hairpin. I don't know. One of the two. Like
or they're like, nah, I'll make my move right here. This is where this may be a star. This is where I'm gonna make all my moves.
Yeah, like I'm gonna cut through here and it's gonna be glorious.
Yeah, but I don't know what they were doing over there. And then Lewis and George were fighting on that. I forgot what the turn is called. It's like the turn right before the long straight at the back end of the circuit where they had to go off the track momentarily. So without them being silly gooses. So I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, well,
it was just them racing. So whatever.
Lewis just had to wait for Russell to smash into a wall and take himself out.
Yeah. I mean I think that was just bad luck, honestly.
No, it was, and it was just following another car in front. Too close or it too exactly, and I mean
he was trying to mirror Lando too much, and he also hit the barrier because he wasn't thinking like that.
Yeah, well, in this I felt bad for him for how like emotionally distraught he was after that race. But
I mean, because you went from being 4th to 0.
Yeah, so exactly. Whereas at least this one, but I felt bad for this one too because like I felt like Lewis, that was the most half-assed attempt to like help or get like I don't know. I felt like Russell could have they could have figured out a better time to have Hamilton pass him and like be able to do that like DRS trick or whatever, because it was almost like Hamilton passed him and then it was just like, hey, we got to help him out. Yeah, I'll help him out, and like did, but then it was just like, all right, sorry.
Yeah, they need to have. They need better teamwork. Let's be honest here. They need better teamwork.
Like it's like it's like he verbally says the words like I'm going to help you, but like it's as he's like pulling his hand away. He's like, take my hand. Take my hand. I'm reaching out for you.
No, they need to remember that they can't beat other teams by themselves and they need to help each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I understand Lewis is not used to that, but Lewis might need to get used to that.
Yeah, and if anything can prove that that is doable, it is signs that literally used another team, not even a teammate, another team to help him win. Like it just
amazing racecraft there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you just got Max with a sledgehammer coming in to Japan and just obliterating everyone like he's Thor. Just
yeah. And we're at the point now where if he finishes above 4th or 5th in the sprint, he gets the driver's title with 6 races to go. It's hilarious.
Fucking stupid. Like I'm a fan and great for him, but like fuck, man, that is stupid.
I mean that's greatness. Greatness is what it is. So
you're right. It's wild. I mean, shit, over 20 seconds in this race alone. Like
19.
Was it 19? Oh, okay.
He won by 19.
Okay. Well, 19 Max. Well, fuck. All right.
Yeah, I know. He's slipping now.
Yeah, I know. I expect more out of you. Like this is not the level we've come accustomed to.
Right. They overworked him. It's like your volume's going down. Was everything okay? He again has been saying all season he's operating on a different level from everybody, and that's just how he is this year. That's how he'll be the rest of this year. Yep. Next year, maybe. This year,
yeah.
So,
yeah, I want to see a little bit. I want to see more fire. I think he needs a little bit more challenge. Because
that's what racing's for.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, honestly, the guy's his own worst enemy because, like, I mean, partly why he rages on, like, the radios even when he's beating everyone else is because the times aren't where he and in his mind think they should be, which is just wild to me.
Yeah, he has to find ways to like, entertain himself.
Yeah.
In a professional... Everybody's trying their hardest to race him. And he has to make up ways to keep himself from being bored.
Yeah. Have you? Do you watch with New Girl at all?
No.
Oh, all right. No, there's a no. Don't be sorry. There's a scene where the guy's like he's doing a remedial like office job, like it's like stuffing envelopes, and so like he's trying to think of all the different ways to like make it exciting. Like he's like timing himself doing it, but by the end of it, he's like made all these different like like hats and like umbrellas out of the papers just because he has nothing better to do, but he's still like doing the job or whatever, and then he like. It fails, but anyways, it just reminds me of Max. It's just like trying to find something to keep himself occupied. Like it's wild.
I mean, and also like it's on the other teams to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Well, I think this year was a humbling experience for Mercedes. So I think next year they'll probably come back even stronger.
Or not.
Really?
Or this continues their fall.
I mean, yeah, that's
they can go either way. Like I was looking at like constructors' histories. Right now, I'm like, there are times that it was McLaren. There are times when it was Ferrari. There are times that it was like when it was Alpine for 2 years or Renault. Yeah. I was like, teams have their moment, and for Mercedes they had a damn long moment. And you know what? What if it's over?
Yeah, it's true. I have a hard time thinking it is because I know, Toto is a very very smart man, and I don't think that
on occasion he's not accusing other teams' cars of injuring his. He's accusing of other teams riding their cars too low, which then influences Mercedes, who have no free will, I guess, to run their cars too low to then try to get Lewis's spine to eject from his body, and then blame it on other teams, because that makes sense. So on occasion, yes, he's a smart man.
Yeah, okay, well, I appreciate that your logic is sound there, because, yeah, I think that kind of stuff is ridiculous. He's not up his own ass, he's a smart man. Yes. Like, correct. Yes.
I agree with
that. Yeah, with that preface, I feel like there's too much history and there's too much of a potential for them to get another constructors and a drivers championship for Lewis before he retires that, I just feel like I feel like the first year of them not performing was just like they were able to kind of sit back and just be like, yeah, but we're Mercedes. That we just have found something that no one else has found, and it's going to take us a little bit longer to unlock it. And then in year 2, they're like, oh, fuck.
Like, we don't have that kind of time right now.
Yeah, like, we're not unlocking it. Like, this is turning
It was easier when
bad.
they had unlimited time to work on this shit, and not have to have that
Well,
budget.
they can't throw concept after concept, at the wall, and they don't have Niki Lauda being like, that's stupid, yes, do that, know. So like, I think that's a factor as well. But I mean, honestly, I just hope they come back, because for me, Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren are essentials, and I mean, they're the equivalent of like the Bears, the Packers, and the 49ers of like the NFL. So like, I want them to be competitive, but then
Sure, but like, by the same token, so is Williams. So that was saying much.
Right, but I mean, Williams is like the Browns.
Well, okay. No, Williams is more like the Bears, if we're being honest with you.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I can appreciate you owning that. You're gonna take. I'm saying you're gonna take them on.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is that it seems like going into each season, in regards to new car development, it's this crapshoot. It's just like, you hope for the best, and some teams get lucky and some teams don't.
Well, that's the thing. Even Red Bull talked about when they've been performing as well as they have. Like, they say that they use even the slower teams as inspiration, and one of those teams is Williams. One of the slowest teams on the grid is where they took some of their floor designs, their floor design inspirations from, and I mean, it obviously is working for them. So there's there's a lot to be gleaned from it, and I mean, I like the fact that they're not spec cars and like everything is 100% the same. So
True.
I just want the cap costs and all that kind of stuff to truly even everything out to where you could potentially see a Williams fighting for a world championship again, or Alpine, for a first time.
Yeah,
not first time, but first time is Alpine.
But one has to question, how much of that is money? How much of that is competency?
Yeah, I think one begets the other to an extent, though, right?
To an extent.
So, like, I think that's the hard part, is like finding someone to invest in early on that you can get decent deal for, but then ultimately costs you because they become successful, and you have to like kind of weather that storm of like them becoming good and then in demand to keep them. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the Christian Horner path, right? You have a unknown team of Jaguar coming in, and you have essentially a 20-something-year-old team principal, and it all has worked out for them. But how often is that actually going to be the formula for success?
It shouldn't be, because it seems like it's very, very rare.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. But that's just it. Is doing something that's outside the box like that is what is what you were saying, like what Formula One is all about, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. It's great. I mean, that's why we love it. I mean, it's so interesting. There's so much to glean from all of it, of where they could go.
It is incredibly fascinating, if nothing else. So we have Qatar on the 8th.
Yeah.
So a little bit between then. They have a sprint because they hate me.
Yeah.
And it is very highly likely that Max wins the sprint and secures drivers championship in that sprint
just before the Grand Prix.
Yeah. I really wish this never do this, because I'm sure sponsors would hate this, is that when a driver can't do anything to change their standing in the drivers,
mm-hmm.
they just let the young guys get in the car and give him a shot. That could be cool.
So you're saying let Liam drive Max's car for the rest?
Why not? Why not? Or if that fucking big brain, give it to Ricardo. Let me see Ricardo get some wins. Let me see some shoeies, is what I'm saying. Let me see how good he actually is.
So
how cool would that be?
So you're saying you won the constructors, get out of here, like let somebody else have a spin at the seat?
Is that not kind of cool though?
That would be cool. I wouldn't be.
Because what's the point of racing at that point? I mean, apart from just competition, I guess.
The first thing you'd have to do, and this would just be out of my morbid curiosity, is you'd have to take Checo and put Checo in the car, just so we can confirm that it's not.
In the same car as Max.
Yeah, so we can confirm it's not the car. So like,
I'm pretty sure it's a similar car. I'm pretty sure it's
I know it
damn
is.
near the
I'm
same
just being
car.
a snotty
I know,
shit.
but how cool would that be?
That would be really cool. I think that's a really good idea.
Because I want to see Dan Ricciardo in that car. I want to see if he actually has anything left.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he does. So
Yeah. And
I think if he did, it would have shown a McLaren.
Yeah, I think so too.
Apart from Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, drivers usually don't get better after 35. So
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I hope, because I like the guy and I think he's a good dude, and I think he was a good racer. But yeah, I have my own skepticism of how good he really is, and how much of this is just like more of a personality.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, and just like we owe you, do you a solid. But like what I want to see is like we're at a point now that in my mind is Max is where Vettel was when they brought in Ricardo. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like,
but like who is Liam of young Ricardo's ability? Maybe.
that's what I'm saying though. Like
I'd love them to find out.
that's what I'm saying. We should try to find that out. Like in my mind, Red Bull next year should be Max and Liam. Like if we were really like I mean, he's already been thrown to the wolves in Super Formula and everything, and like he's performed. Alex didn't have to go through that stuff, and I think if Alex had been cut in something like that a little bit more, he might have been ready for, the true Red Bull seat, which I
think I'd sooner put a Yuki there to see what they got.
Okay, I'm not mad at that either. Not mad at that either. I didn't even think about Yuki.
Because Yuki's putting, yeah, and that's probably a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like Yuki's putting this time, but Yuki seems like a fine B grade driver.
Mm-hmm.
He's above average, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. So everybody can be like competing for the title. That's okay.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. I think Liam. I think Liam would challenge Max more, technically.
I hope he would. I don't know if he would, but I hope he would. But
And I mean, maybe Singapore is just a unique situation with him being able to put the AlphaTauri where he did. But that was very impressive. And if he could do something like that with the actual Red Bull, I can only imagine.
Yeah, it also feels like Red Bull is focusing on like not losing more than anything else. I think they want someone who can like just keep it competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I know with rookies, young drivers, I'm sure that mystery scares them more than they want to admit.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're definitely right. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the long and short of it is that Red Bull just doesn't want anyone to be happy. They just, right. Whether it's their own team or it's the other teams, they just want everyone to be miserable always.
Yeah, and I get it.
It's fine. I mean, I guess if I was in that situation too, I would probably make poor decisions as well.
Well, Christian, better than most, understands just how you will not be at the top forever. So try to enjoy it while you can be at the top, or try to defend it for dear life while you can defend it for dear life, because you will not be up there forever. So
yeah, and also talk as much shit as you can while you're up there.
Right, because that might change in a couple years. So
yeah, exactly. Well, shit. All right, man. Well, this was a good one. Appreciate your time, and we'll take a week off, and we'll be back for Qatar, and then we got the United States. That Circuit America is cool. That's Circuit America is
Coda. Yep. And then Mexico, then Brazil, then Vegas, and then Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, holy cow! Look at that. We got Western favoring time zones for almost all the next races.
Yeah, no, like pretty much. I don't have to get up at 6 a.m. anymore.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah.
Look at us go. Sweet, man. Well, thanks again. And to everybody else, as always, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing. We could do better. We'll see you next time. Peace.